Hello, and welcome to MFA Job Ready Skills Training Session 4. In this presentation, we will break down professional skills into categories. We will then look at how using these categories can transform your career process. You can use your professional skills in every aspect of your career development, from the beginning as you explore the job search market through completing applications and resumes, preparing for the interview, interviewing, and finally advancing your career. Knowledge, skills, and abilities may be the most important terms you will learn in any job readiness skills or career development process. They are used to assess candidates' qualifications and will be used to evaluate advancement and promotions. Many people use the three terms interchangeably, but they are distinctive in their use and description of your individual talents. Knowledge is the foundational principle of identifying your professional skills. Knowledge focuses on the understanding of a concept. It is theoretical, not practical. This means that you may read a book, watch a video, or even take a class, but you may have no practical experience applying the concept. I may watch a surgery procedure on YouTube and have an understanding of the purpose of the surgery and how it is performed, but you probably wouldn't trust me to be your surgeon if you need the procedure. I mentioned it. It is a foundational principle because any concept has to be first learned before it can be practiced. If you have recently completed high school, college, or some other educational program, you will have knowledge, but it's important that you are able to use and apply the knowledge you have gained. Skills are the practical application of knowledge. Skills in this instance is not used as general career qualifications. Most people will group knowledge, skills, and abilities under just skills. However, an employer will be assessing your qualifications at each level. We refer to skills as the capabilities or proficiencies developed through training, or you can think of it as a hands on experience. I can read a book on installing a kitchen faucet, but I will only have the knowledge of the concept. But once I actually practice installing the faucet, I will have the skill um, that's necessary to complete the task. Skill is developed by completing tasks related to something over and over again. So if I read the book, then practice completing the task, I can gain knowledge and I've also developed skill. Abilities is probably the most challenging for most people to define. It is often confused with skills. It is defined as the innate traits or talents that a person brings to a task or situation. But you may still need to gain knowledge and skills before you can maximize the potential of these traits. All of us have some type of natural talent and or gift. Although many abilities are seen as innate, abilities in careers can be acquired over time. Another way to look at abilities is being able to grow and develop to a level of expertise in an area of your career. For example, there are people who are naturally gifted to be leaders, but those who may not naturally possess this talent can learn leadership skills. By performing leadership tasks and duties over time, you can increase your leadership abilities. There are numbers of career assessments which will assist you in identifying your natural talents and gifts. We will provide the link for you to complete one of these assessments later on in this presentation. Now, let's see how well you can do at distinguishing knowledge, skills, and abilities. Go to the MFA Job Readiness Workbook, Session 4, and complete the question. Describe knowledge, skills, and abilities in your own words. When you have completed the workbook question, please come back to this presentation. Knowledge, skills, and abilities may often be referred to as KSAs for short. Review the examples of KSAs on this page. Think of how you would separate your professional qualifications in each of these areas. Now it's time for you to identify your KSAs. Go to workbook session 4 and answer the questions to decide if the example is a knowledge, skill, or ability. When you have completed the questions, please return to this presentation. Once you can distinguish between knowledge, skills, and abilities, you can transition KSAs into careers. Making a career decision is critical to maintain a trajectory of career advancement and not a continuous path of stop and go jobs that lead nowhere. Most people switch jobs an average of 12 times over a lifetime and work a total of 90,000 hours. That's a lot of time out of your life. So it's important to make each job count. Do you want 12 jobs that just move around in a circle? Or would you like 12 jobs that move up like a staircase, leading you to increased knowledge, skills, and abilities, more money, better work environments, and better career satisfaction? This video discusses career change. You can double click on the video on the presentation to open the link, or go to your Job Readiness Session 4 workbook and click on the link there titled Career Change. Please watch, listen, and take notes. Careers are built over time. The longer you work, the better you should become at the career process and how you use KSAs in the process. Being able to separate your KSAs is critical in beginning your job search. The first step of the job search process is looking at your KSAs, work history, credentials, volunteer activities, values, and priorities. By assessing each of these areas, you can create a profile to match the job opportunities. Which job best fits you? When you're not following these critical steps, you are always trying to fit into a job when it should really be the other way around. The second step is preparing and organizing. You need a way to track application responses and potential employers. Make sure you have all the credentials for the position in which you're applying, as well as any other incidental requirements for an employer, including competency tests, and etc., listed in a notebook or journal that you can review. The third step is to make sure you are searching in the right places. Where are the opportunities for the types of jobs that fit your qualifications? When you are out and about, keep your eyes and ears open for all job possibilities. The employment market is constantly changing. It is important to recognize when you need to utilize all available resources in your career process. Consider using career talent and development organizations like MFA, staffing agencies, company websites, and social media. You can also use career fairs and informational interviews. Informational interviews may be new to you, but it's a simple way to gain information about your chosen career. Find someone who is working in the position you desire. Contact the person and ask if they are willing to sit down with you for 15 to 30 minutes to answer questions about their position. Feel free to ask questions you may not be comfortable asking. One question you may want to ask is, how's the supervision at this company? Are you expected to work overtime even when you are not scheduled? Also, this may be an opportunity to network and get your foot in the door of a potential employer. After you have perfected the job search process by isolating your KSAs to best match potential job opportunities, it is time to move on to applications. The first step is to take your time. Many people rush through applications, assuming an employer will fill in the blanks. However, most employers will spend less than 30 seconds reviewing your application. That is, if you are lucky enough to have an actual person review the application. If you apply online, some employers use a computer program to highlight qualifications listed on your application, which match those listed in the job description. Make sure you accurately list KSAs for each job listed. Check for typos and grammar mistakes. The second step is to know what the employer is asking for. Research the company. Use specific words or phrases the employer uses to describe their company or the positions. The more items you have on your application to match the job qualifications, the greater chance your application is pulled for the next round of consideration. The third step is to sell yourself. Make sure you highlight items relevant to the job, but may be unique to your past experiences. Add any special opportunities you had in the past to show your expertise. Finally, keep it relevant. If you're making a career change, you will have experience where you can add transferable KSAs. But there may be unique experiences from your past which may not be relevant to this position. For example, if you were required to lift 40 pounds at your previous warehouse job, but now your current position is an administrative job working in a professional office, your ability to lift a certain weight would not be relevant. Everyone should have a resume, regardless of having little to no experiences or if you've worked for over 30 years. Resumes give you an opportunity to market your KSAs to a potential employer on your own terms. You can design the fonts, format, and include relevant information and exclude irrelevant information. There are basically two types of resumes, and a third hybrid version, which is a combination of the two. The first type is chronological. It lists your work experience in reverse time order, which means you start with your last job first, then work your way back. Chronological resumes are the easiest to write and read. They are orderly and provide a seamless look at your work history. Disadvantages is that chronological resumes can call attention to employment gaps or lack of work experience in certain areas. The second type of resume is functional. Functional resumes focus on your strengths. If you are able to organize your information based on the priority for a particular employer. This type of resume groups KSAs in categories like management skills, customer service, computer skills, etc. Functional resumes allow you to de emphasize gaps in work history and highlight the KSAs you want to present to the employer. The disadvantages of functional resumes is they omit detailed work history. Employers may think you're trying to hide something and your resume could be overlooked. The hybrid version is called a combination resume. It is a blend of the two types. You are able to highlight your strengths, but also list past work experience, creating some order to your resume, which is familiar to employers. I recommend you first create chronological resume because it is the easiest way to design a resume at the beginning. Then you use the chronological resume to create a combination resume. You may need to have a couple of versions of your resume for different positions for which you're applying. Let's test your knowledge of resumes. Take the quiz by clicking on the form or double clicking on the form, completing your answers, and clicking on the purple submit button at the end. If you're unable to access this form by clicking on the slide, go to workbook session 4 and click on the link titled MFA Resume Quiz. When you have completed, submit and come back to this presentation. Resume tips and lists reviews the important aspects of resumes. Try to keep your resume to one page. Remember, employers may spend 30 seconds or less reviewing it. Keep font size between 10 and 12 points. Use past tense and highlight with bold print or italics. Do not use first person. Keep the resume checklist with you when you're creating your resume. Review to make sure you have a professional resume to win an interview and the job. The last step in the job development process is interviewing. Take a deep breath, relax, and sell yourself. Watch the video to get tips on how you can master the interview. If you are unable to open the video by double clicking on the slide, go to session 4 workbook and click on the link titled Mastering the Art of the Interview. When you have completed watching the video, come back to this presentation. Interviewing is an ability in and of itself. The more you interview, the better your interviewing skills become. So if you decide a job is not for you, go on the interview. The practice will be good for you. Interviewing can be learned. There are basic questions which are asked in 80 to 90% of the interviews you will be doing. This slide lists some common interview questions. Having prepared answers for these questions, you will have 80% of the interview locked in. It's a good idea to use examples from actual past experiences. It is just like having a conversation with a friend. But this conversation is all about your past jobs, and it's with a person or persons you are meeting for the first time. Although you should be professional in your demeanor, the interviewer should be able to get a feel of who you are and connect with you. At the end of the interview process, if you and another candidate are equally qualified, you want the interviewer to like you for the position. That means they think you will be the better fit for the company. If the interviewer has a difficult time connecting with you, then they may think you would have a difficult time connecting to the other employees. The number one tip for interviewing is practice, practice, practice. Thank you for participating in the MFA Job Ready Skills training presentation today. If you would like more information about our programs and services, please contact our office. We look forward to working with you next time.